Okay, hello, my name is John H. from the Fort Knox 5. I'm here in Nelson at the Spirit Bar. This has always been one of those places that, I've been coming out to Nelson since before it was actually officially the Spirit Bar. And I mean, knock on wood, and this show's already sold out. I haven't ever had a bad show in Nelson. It's always been awesome. It's always sold out. It's always been just really cool party people. And, it's somewhere that it's just like from doing Shambhala so many times and, coming out to this area, we have a really good crew out here, good family, and it's definitely like a home away from home.
What make you dance? What make you dance? What make you dance? What make you move? What make you take that time?
We've spent the last couple of years really focusing on the actual label, Fort Knox Recordings. We've still kept up with Fort Knox 5 and working on music and have a lot of big plans for the future. But over the last year, the label's been kind of our prime focus in debuting a lot of artist albums from the label and having remix compilations. So like in the last basically year and a half, we've released an Impresario's record, several Impresario's EPs, a Nappy Rhythm album, a CI album. We also did an album called Liftoff, which is my partner Steve and Rob and Steve's wife and our friend Steven. And then what we've been kind of gearing up for the last few months is the release of All Good Funk Alliance's album, Jacks of All Trades.
Push it up and move it out. Come on. What you waiting for? What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Up that body, flip it out. Stop the dance floor. All your people shout it out. Shout it out.
The Bambaataa story is a very interesting story. It's one of those chance encounters that you kind of hear about, and that you kind of lose faith a lot in music sometimes because these things never happen to you. And I mean, I worked at a record store in Washington D.C. for several years called DJ Hut, and my boss called me up, who was the owner of the store, and was like, "Yo, Bambaataa's in the store right now." This was right after we started Fort Knox 5. I mean, within probably 5 months after dropping the first couple of records. I grabbed all of our vinyl and a bunch of CDs and stuff and, shot over to the record store, went in there and just, it was like probably a 30-second thing. It was me walking in there going, "Hey, big respect. We've met each other in the past a couple times, but I just want to say you're hugely influential to what we do. And, just wanted to drop some tunes on you," and literally dropped a CD on him. And my buddy who owned the CD is like, "Bambaataa doesn't play CDs, he only plays vinyl." And literally, he went from the record store, got into his car. My phone rings 15 minutes later, and I'm like, and I see an unknown number, and I'm like, who's calling me from like an unknown number? Normally I wouldn't answer it, and by some chance I actually answered it. And there was, big, deep, gruff voice on the other end that said, "Who's this?" And I'm like, "Who's this? You're calling me?" And he's like, "It's Bambaataa." And I'm like, "Whoa, Bambaataa's calling me on my cell phone, holy crap." And literally was like, "What am I listening to?" And held the phone up to the radio, and I was like, "Oh, that's our tune, Dodge City Rockers." And he's like, "Man, that thing's like Planet Rock, in the future." And I'm like, "Whoa, Bambaataa's telling me this." Like, I mean, talk about like a pinnacle moment in your career when you just started and you got the Godfather, the Amun-Ra of universal hip hop culture, telling you that your music is dope. My phone rings again, and it's an unknown number again, so I'm like, "Oh, I better answer it." And sure enough, it was Bam again, and he had gotten to the third song in the CD, and he was like, "Hey, I'm emailing my manager right now. I want you guys to produce my next record." It was like that. And I mean, it was literally that was probably on like a Monday or Tuesday, and by Friday we were meeting with Tom Silverman from Tommy Boy and talking about working on his next record. Yeah, so basically on the bass music tip, it's kind of strange. It's like, when we were talking about, and you're talking about how the sign of the times and music is very related. And, I came up in the rave scene. It was the early Clinton years. We had just come out of, 8 years of Reagan and then 4 years of Bush number 1. And basically, you're coming out of this really dark time, and the music kind of spoke for that. That was kind of like where drum and bass and a lot of that stuff seem to have spawned out from originally, which, you know, is some of the original bass type music. And I mean, you're kind of in that same era right now where you're kind of like you're coming out of a really nasty time, going into a better time. I mean, time's definitely not perfect yet. There's a lot of things that need to change and a lot of people that need to step up to make those changes. But the music definitely reflects what's happening in society oftentimes. I mean, I think that funk music really just brings positive stuff. I mean, we talk about it, like I said, it's F-U-N-K. The first 3 letters are fun. It's about being fun. It's about getting down on the dance floor. It's about just really just letting loose and smiling. And I mean, I think that where it came from, the roots of funk, come back in that, because it wasn't necessarily a fully accepted music, you know, back in the 60s and stuff like that. It wasn't, at least it wasn't accepted by the main society, and it was kind of their underground way of, hey, let's go out and have fun, which is also originally where like rock and roll spawned from, you know?